Sorry, that's really loud. Okay. So to start, we can do introductions. I know you guys know each other, but maybe just go around and say your name once for the recording, and for Jenna is online as well. So if you just want to introduce yourself, and that's all. You just have to, you can just say your name and what your job is.
Amanda Alfara, project coordinator with the City of Tampa's Economic Opportunity Team.
I'm Elizabeth Roman, Senior Director at the Tampa YMCA.
I'm Ginain Grace. I work for Tico here representing Cookie Garden Podcast.
And I'm Becca. I work with Bubble Cities and Homegrown Hillsborough.
And then I also work with Homegrown Hillsborough. Jenna says she can't hear anything. No. It's off.
Yeah, it's definitely on.
It's showing on my thing, like, so when you talk, I'll see if it's going to be.
All right, I'm talking. Is it showing anything? Yeah, it's definitely not muted. So is this going to be the ongoing meeting space for your guys' working group? This working group?
If you guys want me to look at the ECC if you want
I
to.
reserved the ECC for the rest of
Oh,
it. So,
okay,
so
okay.
excited, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the request, but they just.
Yeah, and I think that it's better overall because for the public, because there is no free parking here. ECC does have
Yeah.
free parking.
Yeah.
And more parking too. Yeah, and I don't anticipate it being a million people right off rip, but if it grows in size, it might be harder and harder to host here.
So in the future, ECC, except maybe in October or something, they have something.
That's summer.
So we might have to move
And then get
either the day or the room there.
rainbows.
Okay, so did you guys pick a secretary and treasurer?
Yeah, I'm gonna be the secretary.
Okay. Treasurer. Awesome. Let me write that down on my.
But I would appreciate some guidance on how you
Yes.
want the minutes to
That's
look,
what we were gonna say, yes.
Okay.
So with
Yeah.
this, okay, so secretary and your treasurer. So the secretary will be responsible mostly for actually posting on the platform.
Okay.
So like making our events on the platform, posting our notes. We don't really expect you to like take all the notes, because we want you to be present in the meeting.
Okay.
But like breaking things down, because I'm taking notes here.
Okay.
And like really this first meeting is not going to be a lot of notes. And Zoom does a nice little AI like recap that we can probably use some of too. So like
Okay,
if you want to like go through that maybe. But mostly like your job's gonna be posting on platform.
Okay, so like just when the new meetings are gonna be, updates from what we're working on the meetings or.
Mostly definitely the meeting event.
Okay.
But then also, like if there's something that maybe you guys are posting another, like an actual event outside of the meeting or anything, you don't have to be the only person posting on the platform.
Okay.
But like your main job is posting the meetings
Okay.
and the notes.
Okay.
So that's the secretary's main job, and the treasurer's position is mostly just like a spreadsheet. So determining how much money you guys have. It shouldn't be very much.
We'll help each other. We'll help each
Yeah.
other. We decided these roles because I have more experience in like a treasurer role. She has more as a secretary, so we're challenging ourselves to expand our skills.
I know, that's why I was like chuckling over here. I'm like, oh Lord, Jesus,
Yeah.
talking about spreadsheets.
Don't worry, that's exactly how I felt about something. I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out.
It shouldn't be too hard, and it's really just like one bucket of money, and you have to determine. We'll talk about it when we get down to like the mini grants. But you just have to say like, okay, we only have this much in our budget. We can't give everyone $1,000 when we only have $4,000. So just making sure that we're not overspending. But if there's extra money, what we're gonna do with it. Like you just have to tell everyone, like, guys, there's still money in the budget.
Gotcha.
And the same thing with events, like if it's like materials that you guys have talked about, like just posting, like making sure that the economic development page on the platform is active. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
And also, I don't have on your agenda, but you guys are one person short for the working group. So we left the spot open, but we do have people who are interested. So I don't think we want to do like the full application again, but I don't know if you guys want to schedule like a chat with some people, or maybe the co-chairs just want to talk to like a couple people who I know are interested, or maybe do a platform post that says, hey, we're still looking for one more member for our working group. So I don't know.
What's your thoughts?
I would love to look at the applications. I also thought about some people on the technicals. But yeah, if somebody already applied and they're already invested.
So with the people who applied, I think the reason that like they couldn't attend the leadership retreat and we weren't sure if they were actually gonna be able to commit to the scheduling.
Okay.
Like not just leadership retreat, but like the whole
Yes.
recurring
everything,
schedule.
yeah.
So if we can tell you like who applied and I know that Mel or Shmela, who was at the leadership retreat just for the grant writing, she was also interested. But if you want to put a call out there and say we still need one more person, and
That's a
then
good idea.
yeah, versus like making that do a whole application again, just because it was kind of hot. But
I agree, yes.
but if you want to come up with like 2 questions or something to send an email to you that says, this is why I want to be in the working group and this is like my background,
good.
something like that. Okay. All right. So let's put a date on that. When do we want to have that?
The posting? Or like I think by the end of this month, we should receive one of our applications and we have the person ready for the next
For the
month.
next meeting. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we'll get a post. I guess you'll do it.
Yeah, what, I mean,
Just 2 questions, yeah, like what is your interest?
we'll probably do it by tomorrow, don't you guys
Yeah,
think?
I think so.
Yeah. So get a post in tomorrow. And then, oops, that's the number. Posting on platforms tomorrow. And then like reviewing applications by the end of the month. End of the month. Ready for the next meeting.
So figure out the questions you guys want to post. Do you 2 just want to discuss that and send me an email? Or do you want me to like start sorry, I know you just walked in. We're gonna put a post on the platform tomorrow saying that we're accepting applications for one more, well, not an application, but we're still.
I had someone just email me.
Oh, good.
But yeah, we just need to know what 2 questions you want the post to include for them, people who are interested to respond to us for you guys to make your decision. So
Probably, yeah, experience, right?
okay.
And then why are you interested and what experiences do you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also with that, so when we were doing this like application, we didn't require people to have experience.
That's true.
So we're
Yeah,
even
true.
just saying, why are you good for the role? Which would
Yes.
include their
Their
experience.
experience.
if they wanted
Yeah.
to.
That
But
would
not
be
make it
great.
feel like I'm not qualified, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you able to?
Right.
Okay. So what do you want to do? Why are you interested? And then are you available on Thursday, the second Thursday?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really important because the meeting's already started.
Yeah.
The second Tuesday, yeah.
From 11 to 1.
And I have some.
All right, so we got that. And also move on to our leadership retreat recap. Could our co-chairs give us a report back on what happened at the leadership retreat?
So I think that a lot happened, right? So I think defining, really getting us all on the same page as to what is Homegrown Hillsborough, what is the goal of our working group, what is the food system, and then for me, the biggest takeaway was the collective impact model. I think that as we're creating these larger programs and bigger goals, that was very eye-opening to me and something that I hadn't researched or been part of right before. So I think that was, and then of course the like ice breaking.
Anything like that?
I thought it was really cool to be able to see all the parts that are currently working and then how everything comes together. And that we all share this really big goal, but at the same time, the realization that we need to break it down into smaller chunks to be able to see movement instead of losing momentum because we don't have the overarching goal yet.
Thank you. Oh, I see. I did have it on here, recruit fifth working. Okay, so we already talked about that. We do have to do the post test, so, and I have a post test for you, so before you leave today, you gotta fill it out. And then, okay, so we are going to have you guys make a definition for your working group, which is not necessarily like a mission, but it's similar. It's more like if someone runs up to you on the street and it's like, hey, tell me about economic development. You can say, we're a group that is like aiming to whatever food system, economic development in Hillsborough County, something like that, something short that you can kind of have on the ready. And then you can like have a quick chat with someone without having to go into like the whole thing, and they can say, tell me more. So we have the mission, vision, values of Homegrown Hillsborough here. So we have to remember when you're making this like definition that this is already kind of said. So you don't have to repeat stuff from our like core mission, vision, values, but it should fit into this as well. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys 15 minutes to do it, and if you need more time, we'll see. Our last group, I gave them 10, and they definitely need more time. So we'll start at 15. I'm gonna start a timer, and then we'll put it in the notes. And it doesn't have to be. You don't have to like be 100% like this is exactly what it's gonna be, but a strong draft today. Oops, so go ahead and do it.
So is there Wi-Fi connected on?
Yeah, it's COT Wi-Fi and then the password to Rainbows, all lowercase.
And like if you need to use the whiteboard, or that whiteboard is thing, I guess I like to use. Or
You guys,
somebody write
we
it
can
down.
use that one too.
Okay.
Definition of economic, right? Like just getting all the buzzwords.
Yeah, well, from my perspective, it's really just, it's promoting like cross-sector collaboration to help, upward economic mobility. But in the terms of what we're doing, it's helping, businesses that are related to the food system with their economic mobility.
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying.
I like to push to not use the term we're trying to define in the definition.
Okay, so.
Like I know economic mobility is different than economic development, but
Yeah.
It can be challenging. Cause then it's like, okay, but what kind of economy, like what kind of economics, like you're talking economics, you're talking about economy, right? Like, is there a way that we could remove economic from the definition?
I
What
mean,
are some synonyms of
yeah, I would choose like
ChatGPT?
in our terms, it would be like, if we didn't want to use economic, we would talk about like, new jobs or businesses that are created inside the realm. So I mean, we could always do that, but I don't know if we want that to be, especially just our definition, is creating jobs and businesses, because is that what we're trying to do?
Mhm.
Obviously, long term, we would love to see that, but
Right. No,
That might be your goal. The goals will be more specific.
yeah, that's true. So let's see.
Maybe financial impact and benefits of food system work.
So who are we serving? Maybe that'll be a good place to start. Like who are we serving? Is it businesses? Is it entrepreneurs? Is it
So I think
end users?
probably the network of of the stakeholders is essentially what I think these working groups are servicing.
Well, I think it's like we're definitely servicing businesses, that's
Yeah.
going to be the goal of
Yeah.
helping these businesses grow
Yeah.
and stuff, but helping the businesses grow helps the residents, with their access to food systems. So it's like a little bit of both, but I think truly it should be geared towards businesses. Is that correct? Like what you guys?
Providing
Businesses grow.
I mean, Homegrown Hillsborough is meant to serve organizations that in turn serve people, but the business, the B2B is really what we're trying to
Yeah.
focus on. But then there's B2C as a result of really strong B2B, right?
Right.
I'll put out growth, like I know like upward mobility, economic mobility, like growth could be a way that we encompass that. You mentioned financial. I think that like financial could be a term we incorporate in it. It is like only a subsect of economic development, you know what I mean?
I mean, the core of all of economic development is to enhance the quality of life of a city. And
I
so
love that.
that's because like it's very broad, Yeah.
So enhance the quality of life through our enhance the quality of. I like quality of life through food system work.
Yeah, no, and that, I mean, that is what economic develop, all the different types of economic like developments, the goal is to make people in Tampa enjoy their life better.
So, and
So- Are we gonna provide organizations with guidelines? Like, what is the main goal? I guess that's what I'm trying to.
Well, we don't have to get too stuck on the goal in so much as what do we mean by economic development in the food system, right? So like I heard enhanced quality of life, I think that is enhanced quality of life for food system stakeholders, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then I heard promote upward mobility. You said something else at the very beginning.
Comes back.
Okay.
Helping businesses grow,
Helping businesses grow.
because that's super specific.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, through
Enhancing
cross-sector collaboration, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I do think if from an economic, like, development standpoint, it's the cross-sector collaboration and enhancing the
And-
quality. Those are the top, like, what you're doing. Because like, obviously, it's so broad that you can't, no entity can do it by itself. So you have to be working with everyone in the community. And no matter what type of development project it is, the end goal is enhancing the quality.
So enhancing quality of life.
By encouraging cross-sector collaborations in the food network, something like that.
Okay. Can we use? Yeah. Sorry, guys. You're right. We're working with businesses. I always think community members are like, enhance is a big word. Let's go smaller, but
Yeah.
we can do enhance.
So enhancing the quality of life for food system stakeholders, that's kind of like at the top. I'm a visual person, so I feel like that's like the ultimate goal, right? And then like
How you do
branching
it.
out to that, that's how you do it. So the way we're going to enhance the quality of life for food system stakeholders is we're going to be promoting upward mobility. I think maybe upward mobility, I don't think everybody even knows
No,
what
for
that
sure, for
means.
sure,
So
for
maybe even breaking that down
Mhm.
further, right? We're gonna be collaborating, with, I don't know, community stakeholders, right?
Yeah.
Is that part of it? Like, I just feel like we need to break down like that, the enhancing, like that's the ultimate goal. And so the definition
I
for
feel-
our group would be how we're gonna go about doing that. Like, to me, that would,
I think the promote upward mobility would be better, as you were saying, in the goal section, because that is a word that people are gonna be like, wait, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And if you're just trying to come up with a quick definition, it's too
So
much
perhaps-
to include in that, to explain that,
Yeah.
Because it could mean various things. I know, like, from our standpoint, upward mobility is like, we're looking at, like, the way, so when say someone's born in a low income family and where you just want to follow them throughout their life and the statistics to see if they are able to move into the middle class throughout their life. So
Yeah.
that's when I say economic upward mobility, that's what I'm thinking about, is like their ability to better their life, better their children's life. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So I almost see 2 points. Like there's the help food businesses grow through cross-sector collaboration and enhance quality of life for, I don't want to repeat food systems, but you're supporting businesses to support the community, right? So it's almost like these are our 2 statements, right? Like help food businesses grow through cross-sector collaboration and enhance quality of life for Tampa residents.
yeah, no,
Hillsborough
yeah.
County, I guess.
Yeah, Hillsborough County.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
I'll write that down. We can see if we like it all together. So,
Upward mobility can also apply with businesses, but they started this small and how they continue to grow.
Definitely.
They can reach out.
Yeah,
to
Because if we're not looking at residents and we're looking at a business, we would gauge it by like how many jobs they were able to create, how much profit, how much is their profits increased over the past 5 years, yeah, so.
I like that term. I
Yeah.
do think it might be too complicated for people. but
Yeah, yeah,
Also concise. It does a lot of things in just 3 words.
I don't know, Suna, if you got a chance to look at that Opportunity Insights platform that we had that meeting for, but it's super interesting I've been trying to, I'll share it with the one I'm done with my research, but I've been trying to pull like 4 different areas of town. And it's free to the public, so I can send you guys the link too, but it's Harvard's been doing this research trying to gauge like how community, like having community center and community cohesiveness impacts economic mobility throughout your life and stuff. And so it's just really interesting when you look at different areas like the city of Tampa as a whole versus like East Tampa or Sulphur Springs and how they're different, you know, like Sulphur Springs, they lost their pool and like, you know what I mean? And so like they've lost their community center. Yeah. And it's like, so we're using that research to try to like push forward initiatives for Sulphur Springs to help bring back a sense of community because that's the core. That's what their researchers, like Harvard's researchers suggested that's what is elevating people. And yeah, and part of the data they're trying to keep track of is like how much interactions people have with like high income earners and stuff, and how that also plays a role in people's economic mobility in life. It's just having exposure to the different career fields. And just exposure to people who like, because you know, if you want to start a business, you don't know anyone to start a business, you're like, oh, that seems so daunting. How do I do that? And then just knowing someone who owns a business, you're like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I can do it.
Right. It's no longer out of like the realm when you're
A possibility.
Yeah, but it's really interesting because the data that is suggesting that like, you know, throwing money at a small business to like help them with it's not what really is gonna leave a lasting effect. It's that sense of community. And I think when you relate to the food systems, it like shows like, okay, so no, a community garden you might not think is gonna really have that much of an impact on food access because it has a limited scope. But truly having that center for community is what is going to encourage the overall economic development of a neighborhood and stuff. So
Yes, I love that. That's beautiful.
So I really like that because it was pretty similar to what I had written down, and I think that flows really well.
So is this what I should be taking
Help
in here?
food businesses grow through cross-sector collaboration and enhance quality of life for County.
Do you think we should insert anything about like economy or?
she wanted to take economic.
Oh, that's
out.
right. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And it can be more than one sentence. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
had this like 2 to 4, but really the last group came up with like 1. It's kind of hard once you start drawing it out, but you could, if you want to have another sentence.
Yeah,
or
then we can
2,
do
like
that.
that's totally.
I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of important to.
So you can say
capture-
help food business grow financially through sector collaboration and has public sector growth.
Yeah, you do through the creation of jobs or profit growth. That's in the industry what we would be engaging.
And I'm wondering, instead of help food business, help food system, like, because when you say food businesses, sometimes your local backyard farmer is not going to think you're helping.
Yeah.
That's true.
So help, like food system stakeholders grow through.
Financial.
You could even say like the Homegrown network or like help the network grow because we already, like we have the definition of,
Food system.
so like in our mission, like says like Hillsborough is a network of food system stakeholders in Hillsborough County. So you can say help like the HH network.
Oh, yeah.
through cross-sector.
That makes sense.
Financial cross-sector collaboration. I don't know. I want them to think it's all banks.
Yeah, because a lot of it is like workforce development.
Yeah,
which
if
is,
you say financial, they might be like, why are there banks?
Honestly, I feel like a lot of people who, you know, are in the low to moderate income, as soon as you say banks, they're like, whoops, out of there, you know, so. Because who wants to add a loan, you know what I mean, to their life, like nobody, so.
That is true.
Helping the food system network grow.
Through cross-section, collaboration. Okay.
Do we even need cross-sector collaboration? Can we just take that out and say just collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need cross-sector, but I think cross-sector,
It does.
Shows that it's different.
yeah, it's public, private, yeah.
Enhancing the quality of life.
Maybe do cross-sector collaboration by enhancing the quality of life of Hillsborough County residents with job creation or whatever else you guys want to put there. I don't know.
Job creation and access, right?
Access,
Job creation and access to programs and resources.
Yeah.
The quality of life for Hillsborough County residents. Are we keeping that Hillsborough County residents through what now?
Through, well, not through,
Well,
By providing.
maybe we did period and then we
Yeah.
start a new sentence,
Yeah.
right? Because then we're getting
Yeah.
pretty long, so helping. Growth and process operation by enhancing the quality of life of residents.
I mean, even like once we develop the goals, like you can always come back and add the job creation, program administration, you
That
know,
sounds good, yeah.
resources,
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
right?
That's good.
I think that is
This is a good-
ultimately what the goal is, because if we can connect those cross sectors to provide the financial resources, then the result would be access, job creation, and more stable food system.
Yes.
Which would be, yeah. So I like that, and then ultimately, job creation, more stable food system enhances the life of the residents, right? 'Cause-
Right.
And resiliency, so having a more resilient community in those areas.
So you guys good with this just like being the definition and
Yeah, then we can build
and
on
then
it
we
later.
build on this. Yeah, so this is kind of like how we would define ourselves moving forward in the community.
Yeah, so I love this tree. How does Monica do it? What is economic development working group?
They want to know, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have to say, you know. Collaboration.
We're gonna have this like tatted on us. or something.
Boom, boom, there, now memorize it.
Well, that's great, because we have 5 seconds on the timer, so you.
Oh, wow.
Good job.
All right.
All right, so we'll call it with that, and then like we said, we can always come back and revise this. So what we're gonna do now is go through a little walkthrough of the platform. I'm gonna share my screen. So please grab your computers and go to Homegrown or platform.homegrownhillsborough.com. And this is okay, I have to open on this. Get lost on my things. Okay, platform self-assessment. So what we're going to do is basically go through this checklist because our online partner platform, we want that to be where you guys are communicating. Like, obviously you can like text each other, like, I don't know, like I can't make it to the meeting or something, but where we want you to be having your like group discussions, or like if you want to do like a like share an article or something, we don't want like email threads because things just get lost, and we want to have records of like what everyone is doing, and so people want to see what's going on. So make this one. So we're gonna do like a walkthrough of how the platform works and make sure that everyone knows how to use it, because this is, like I said, gonna be our tool, and this, we are going to hold you accountable for what's on the platform. So like if we post on there and say like, we need to know if you're available for this thing, and there's a poll, like we do expect you to like know what's on the platform. So let me go to the main page. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna go through this checklist, make sure that everyone knows how to do stuff, and then we'll transition your work onto the platform. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Are there any questions about it before?
So we'll have a separate, like, well, I did see last night that we have like an economic, but you built out the working group.
Yes, so there's a working group over here, and this is
So
where we
this
want
is
you
where
to do all
we'll
your
be.
stuff.
Gotcha.
Yes, and so this used to be just called like economic development, so we made it the working group, so it does still have, you know, a lot of people in it, but these are all people who are interested in economic development. So we didn't want to like just totally scrap and start something new. So there's still information like in this group that is probably valuable to you. But from going forward, it is like, this is where we want you guys to be working. And we'll talk more about like how the groups work and stuff like that.
How do we get to it from a browser? I'm sorry.
Platform.homegrownhillsborough.com. Yeah. And then it's easy to just bookmark it.
Yeah. How was it that you did the app?
It's called Mobilize, and the symbol is like a blue ampersand. Yeah, and the app is not like perfect, like you can't post events on the app. But it's still valuable to just like even just be looking through stuff.
Will it notify you if something gets posted at least? And even if you have to go to the computer?
It used to, mine stopped notifying me, so I don't know if it's starting. Monica said that same thing.
It's a smaller company,
Yeah,
and
so
so they're
they're
still
small.
working out kinks and stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know if we've relayed that information to them at the moment. But it was helpful to have notifications on there.
Because then then you need to know that you need to go to the computer.
Right, to go look at it.
I don't think I could find it last time, but I'll ask you then after.
Okay, so the first thing is, are you on the platform? Does everyone have a profile on the platform?
Yes.
Well, do you guys have profiles?
I'm looking, so
Okay.
I'm getting emails through one email that with
Okay.
notifications from Homegrown Hillsborough. So I just went to reset a password because it's not just popping up like it was. And now it's saying that I don't have, but I should have a profile.
That's what
Logo.
Yeah, you do have one. See?
Yes.
Yeah, see, we have you. You have a profile,
So I'm
so
wondering if it just happened.
okay. So Elizabeth, we gotta get you a profile on here. So it doesn't show unless you did it under a different name. So when you go to that platform.homegrown.com, at the bottom you want to like you can scroll down further and say sign up, and then I can approve you real quick. And then while she's doing that, do you have a profile picture on your account? I know you do. That's how Amanda. You
I will not. I was looking at it. Do I? It's not
Oh, your nose is right here.
Yeah.
So please upload a photo. We do have your headshots in the drive, and use the small version. So when you do that, you just go up to the corner, click on your little bubble, and say view my profile, and then just upload my thing. Okay. So please do that now. While we're getting Elizabeth on here. And if you don't have it bookmarked, you can bookmark it now while we're doing that. Yeah, I'll give you a minute to do that. I think everyone who had a profile, we added you to the group already. So you should be in the economic development working group. Yeah, awesome. Okay, you're in.
And I have a badge now too. I'm like, ooh, I'm official.
Yes, we gave you guys badges.
Did you say it was platform.homegrown.hillsborough?
No.
Homegrown Hillsborough.
Oh,
Yeah, we're not any dots. Okay. So I don't think that. Go ahead.
No, I was started talking. Did you have a question, Nicole? You started talking too.
I'm just adding the economic work group now. No, I got in.
And then that brings you to our links.
Oh, okay. Because
So I think you have to like verify in your email.
Oh,
So
yes.
for it to
Yeah.
pop up on my side so I can approve you to join. Like you just have to like say, yes, this is my email. Yes, this is me. Yeah. It's not a random person.
So I added the economic. I'll change my email.
Like I said, it's very important that you know how to use the platform. So start getting used to checking it once in a while. Probably like maybe once a week, and then co-chairs maybe be checking it, especially the week up to your meeting. Because part of our like standard agenda will be talking about things that got posted in your page. So like if there was 2 articles, we'll say, okay, would you guys any thoughts on these? And like obviously if they're posted at 11:59 the day before, that's a little different, but that'll be
Consideration University.
yeah, 11:59.
Want to create my own community?
No.
No.
Should we join?
And then we can join the other groups if we
Yes.
wanted to as
I think
well.
that this verification is for the app. It's like a little- I thought that I had done this during the retreat. That's why I'm confused. Because I was
I didn't see you in
pretty
the.
sure I
Let me
had.
see.
But let me go to, oh no, this,
So there's
it says verify email, but I think this is from Mobilize, or is it the same?
You see, I don't have you in our.
So when I click here, verify,
Mhm.
it just says get your community started. That's just why.
So we need to join our community specifically.
So no, when I click verify, it just says.
Okay, what about here? You done, Peter?
To verify the email?
Well, so like I've read and accepted. And then you continue.
It was already in
you
use. See, I thought I had already.
Can I press on you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just stuck. Yeah, cool.
Well, because it's the, you just please verify the email. Okay.
Go back to like the
Let's
main part of the platform. Like go to
just
mobilize.
go everything. Let's start. Mobilize.com.
Yeah. Nope, that's not it. Just search mobilize.
Thank you. Very nice. And like, when we have people on here, if you invite people to this, encourage them to add a photo because it makes
Okay,
it
search that,
more, you can recognize them and you see them say, oh, I saw your
That's it,
post,
yeah.
last week or whatever on the platform. Just to make it more complete
Right.
and grow our social capital, so you can recognize people.
I would say get link or code.
Oh, sorry. Thought I had to done already.
Okay, and then do your email that you send up.
Oh, okay.
We know how to upload a profile photo. Did you guys bookmark it for easy access so you don't forget the platform.homegrown. Or yeah, platform.homegrown.hillsborough. And we just like made that because we used to just tell people you just gotta bookmark it, otherwise
Yeah.
you'll lose it.
Yeah.
So we realized that we could be using our website. Like, okay, we'll make all these short links. And I do want to wait to make sure I can.
Well, now it's sending you a code. So
Well,
it
okay.
works.
Okay.
So go put yourself into economic development.
I know, no, that's,
Yeah. There you
So
go.
she's already like
Okay.
approved it, so, like,
I don't-
I guess so.
it worked, I don't know, it's self-approved.
Yeah.
That's fine. Awesome. Do you have a photo on your profile?
Not yet. We're just getting
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if it was already in there or not.
Well, somehow when we refreshed it, I was just logged in, so.
Yeah.
Oops. Weird, a lot of people without photos, but the more can we get on here, the better. With photos, so we can recognize each other. Where is this? There's a lot of A's, but then there's also like,
Well, A13 is the number.
right, but the rest, like,
Yeah, because, Rubina.
right, that's
Right
why I
up
was like,
there,
why
yeah.
should, and then coming this way, it goes C and then back
Maybe they
to
have
B.
like a space before the name. That's what it would make
But
sense.
then how did Jennifer?
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a C over here, right? So it's like, I don't know what order, I think it's vaguely.
Alphabetical, that's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's weird.
that's really strange. It's, I was like just trying to see if I could see Elizabeth's like thing in here. But I don't know. Okay. Okay, so Elizabeth, you're in. You got your stuff.
Oh, now it's telling me to verify. I want to confirm that you are really you. Please verify the link. Okay.
It's important that you're all following.
Yes, thank you.
So the platform has lots of different things on it. You can do like events, you can do polls, you can do job opportunities or volunteer opportunities. It really should be like the place for everything to happen. So this is why we're trying to encourage people to use it more. Because in a perfect world, everyone's stuff is on our like joint calendar and people aren't scheduling stuff on the same days. We know like spring and fall, when the weather gets nice, all of a sudden there's like 20 events on the same Saturday. So we're trying to prevent that so we can all kind of support each other that way.
And then so it's broken down, Homegrown Hillsborough on the main page, and then,
Yes.
so the events, if there's like events that it's for the whole group, it's posted there. If
Yes.
it's events specifically for economic development, there's
It's
a couple
on in your
posted in there.
Yes, yes. Okay, so now we're ready. So we know how to join a group. So you guys, on the left, it says like your groups. And then I think I'm in almost all of them except this one. So if you want to look at the other groups that we have, and stuff you're interested in, including like the other working groups, you can join them. It should say on the bottom like suggested groups. You can say view all, and it'll show you the groups that you're not part of, which like I said, I'm only not part of this one. So if you want to join any other ones, you are welcome to do so. I would encourage you to do anything that you're interested in. And like Nicole was just saying, the groups are by specific topic. So if you have something that is more relevant to food access, put it in their group. Don't put it in your group just because you're part of the economic development group. If it's more relevant to them, put it there. Or if it's something that would benefit everyone, you can put it in the main page. And so like when Amanda, you go to post the event, we want it in the group.
Okay.
So make it for economic development. And that will make it so we keep things organized and people aren't like, I'm getting a million emails about stuff I don't care about. And then for notifications, is you can customize them here on your computer. You go up to the corner, click on your little picture and say profile settings. It pops up all your notifications. So you can have it send me a highlight every Thursday, once a week. If you want to send you an email every day, you can do that just to kind of, you know, to remind you. I don't have that one on, but if you want to get group highlights, like I want to get group highlights, maybe not every day. And then like if you want to like immediately send you an email, like as soon as someone posts, you can say, I want an email when people post in food access, economic development, and food production, which should say working group, but I think it'll change. So you can change all these just so that you stay in the know and you're not like, I didn't know anything was happening. The notifications are very valuable. So like, especially if someone mentions you in a post, like you probably want to have that on, or like conversations or private replies. And same thing with events. It can send you an email notification when you're invited to events from specific working groups. So really just customize these to what you want to see in your inbox. That'll help you stay on top of all of the happenings on the platform. Are there any questions about the notifications? Do you feel good about how yours are set up? Okay, they're not very, you can do it like in 2 seconds. Okay, and now the fun thing about our platform here too is that it doesn't post, like it automatically puts things in order of latest activity, which means it's not in chronological order, it's in order of who commented on something. So like we have these highlighted posts at the top that are just like, we can highlight them. So those, we control what goes there, but then under that, we can also pin things. So this one is pinned, but then after that, it posts in order of activity. So like Nick posted this an hour ago, but then, and yeah, I was like, these are chronological right now because they're very recent, and Monica posted this an hour ago. And then like this was from April 3rd, but then this is from April 12th, and people have been commenting on this. See, Ginain commented 13 hours ago, so that pulls it above something else. So even though this was posted on March 12th, like it's in front of a March 27th post because I have it in latest activity sorting. You can switch it and say new posts so that you're just be aware that that is an option, and that's across all the groups just to help you know what's going on. Just like, man, I've seen all this stuff already. It's because people are still commenting on it, or someone like updated something. Do you have something to add?
I just wanted you to unpin that post if you have functionality. It's just old. If not, I'll do it later. Okay.
Do we all have pinning capabilities, or is that just?
I don't think so. Yeah. I was like, I think Monica gave me and Dahlia like the highest settings.
Yep.
So you may or may not. And tell me, please, if there's something that I tell you to do and you're like, I'm not able to do that. Because I'm not sure if you guys can do recommendations or not, because we kind of figured that out. Like when just you're making a post. No. Okay, so you don't have that option. Okay. So to talk about posts, there's different types of posts, and it's important that we're doing them the right way. So just looking through like our group, when you make a post, you can do a discussion, you can do a poll, you can do an event, or you can do an opportunity. So
I clicked on it. That's what you meant, right?
Yep. So like these, yeah. So you can click on different types of posts. So it's important when you're doing an event to actually make an event, because it does a whole thing and it auto syncs to your calendar. So it'll actually put that event in your calendar if you say you're going. So then it's also, when you're making events, it's very important to fill everything out because it goes directly to people's calendars. So making sure it's accurate. If you have a location, putting a location, making sure your time's right. Because clearly it just auto does it to like an hour from now to make my event. So make sure you're doing that as much as you can. Include like a description. If there's a link for something, you have to make sure to actually hyperlink it. And that's true across like any of your type of posts. And if you have a photo, please add a photo because it makes it more visually interesting. I know it's a weird shape, so the longest photo you can find, or just make sure it has like words in. Whatever you can do, you don't have to be a graphic designer, or you don't have to make something new, but if possible, try to make it fit there. And then, like I said, you can do a discussion post. You have your title part of it, so like this is a test post, like, and then when you come down here, you want to type in like the description. And then if you actually want a link, you do have to hyperlink it. So you have to highlight and say, add a link. So if you just type in a link, it won't auto do it.
So if we find articles on economic development, or there's something that we find posting that in the discussion as a hyperlink, right? And then or would that, I guess would it be more of an opportunity if it's something that, like, if it's funding, right? So
if it's funding, yeah.
Okay.
So it just depends on what it is. So if it's just like an
So you
informational
see a grant
article.
or something that.
Yes, yeah, if it's a grant, that would be an opportunity.
Okay.
And then they have different like things to fill out. So you can add a little picture, then they will when you put the link in on the opportunity, I think it does that for you.
And it does define what an opportunity is, so like a
Yes.
mentorship or.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So I actually don't think that a grant on here is actually an opportunity.
Okay.
Because
use program.
program, yeah, okay, so then call it program.
But
And
articles would go under just
discussion, yes. Yep, and make sure again it's relevant to whichever group you're posting it in, and we do have like authority to like move them around. So like if you post something on the main page, we'll be like, this would be great for the economic development group. We might put you over there. It's okay, like don't be like scared posting down here. It's not the end of the world. Like, we want you to post on the platform.
So the city's hopefully in May, might be June, but we're about to launch a program where we use CDBG funding to help fund small businesses who need like technical assistance to grow, whatever. And if I wanted to post that here for businesses to look into, would you prefer that I post it on the main page than the economic opportunity group? Just because.
Like a training for businesses?
Yeah, so it's like the city will pay a consultant to give you 20 hours of training for whatever you need. Like if you need help, whatever you need, you tell the consultant, they help you through it. And so it's for all scales of business. So there's one for like startups who are just coming up with an idea, and there's one for an established business that's like 0 to 5 employees, and then there's one for maybe a more established one who is trying to make a second location or something like that. So there's all levels of a small business can have the resource, and there are grants that are going to be associated with completing those workshops to help them buy capital and such. So it is good and it's free, so you might as well. If you have to be within the city limits, and it is geared towards people who are either low to moderate income or they serve people who are low to moderate income. And so, yeah.
I would say economic development group, because I would like people, like the main page, when millions of people are using it, main page might get busy, right? And so you want people to be able to come onto here and say, I'm looking for economic opportunities, and then go to that working group. That's what my advice would be.
I think so too. It's one of those ones where it's like, it would be valuable, but if we want people to use the groups correctly, we should do it there and say, you should check out the economic development page, or economic development working group. So, in the spirit of doing things the way that we want people to use it. So, but that's great. So yeah, definitely post that. Okay, so you know how to make a discussion post, and you know how to format a hyperlink. Have you commented in a post? Please go through the economic development working group and make a little comment on something that's on there, so you can show me that you know how to comment.
I know how to comment.
Yes, we know. Yeah, actually, we have your comments on here. Yes, and we appreciate how active you are on the platform.
I probably did a couple of posts in the wrong area.
That's okay. Like I said, like we're not going to be like crazy about it. Just be mindful, and we'll talk. If it's like really like egregiously like off, we'll just be like, hey, by the way, we're going to move this.
Yeah.
So don't be scared to post on the platform. As long as you don't post anything like inappropriate, it's okay. We're happy that you're using the platform. It's no offensive photos or articles, but otherwise.
And the real reason behind this platform is just that like, we're trying to eliminate the whole, you only get to play if you know somebody, right? Like, you're on the email thread because, Kitty puts you on it. It's like,
Yeah.
we want this to be a spot where everybody can get all the information versus having to know somebody in order to get plugged into what's going on. And unfortunately, Facebook is not the tool, so.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you got Nicole's comment, anybody else?
Yeah, I just did for the one that, yeah, that one.
Awesome, okay. Nicole, all right, so we know how to do our comments. And do you know how to tag a person? It is pretty much the same as when you are tagging anyone on any, on any platform, you just use the @ and type their name and it'll pop up. So if I want to tag someone in this post, I can say, I'll tag you. And then that's how you know what tag is. It'll do the hyperlink for you. So maybe you see a post and you're like, oh man, Nicole should check this out. So you should tag her in the comments and it should send her an email if that's how she has her notification set up. So there is value in tagging people in comments, in posts, or maybe you guys say like, great meeting everyone, like here's what we accomplished, I don't know. And you tag everyone in it. Okay, then we also have this amazing tool called our membership directory. I'll go to the main page one. Well, we can do the economic development one. Where you can see everyone's information. So you can see these are all people who are interested in economic development on some level because they joined this group at some point. And so when you click on their profile, you can see their information. So I want to connect with Dahlia. So I clicked on her thing and I say, oh, look, there's her email address. And actually now she can add her phone number if she wants. So instead of being like, hey, Savannah, can you connect me to this person I saw on the platform? You can do it on your own.
That's right.
And that makes it so you don't have an extra step. You're not waiting on me. You're not waiting on someone else.
So you're gonna post we need another member?
Yes.
Okay, and then I'll tag Jenna, because she emailed me. So then, once that's posted, I'll tag her. I'm sending her a response email, like, we are looking for another member but you also don't have to be a member to join our meetings.
Right.
But then, okay, so then I'll tag her.
Tormansky?
Yes.
Yes.
Because Mark's did.
I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah,
Yeah.
that version of the last
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, so definitely like tag her, and I can tag a couple of people who've told me as well. But yeah, that's a good use of it. Good job. Good thought.
She engaged in the link.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
Okay,
because
perfect.
I'm like, ooh, I wonder if she's interested, so I'm glad that she.
And then so you can search members, right?
Yes, so
I
you can
know.
type in their names. And you can also message people on the platform. So you can send, I think that's, our next thing anyway, send a private message. So I can click this little bubble and send Dahlia like a private message, and do a little chat.
You do it.
Okay.
If you want to like share what comes up.
Oh, like, so then I send her that, okay, you can't hit,
And
it's
then
not
I
a
got
chat.
your.
And then it'll probably send her an email
Mhm.
as well as, then we can reply in here. So like, I think this is also a test one. Hi, hey, like, but I actually had like Diane was like said, oh, like, we'd love for you to join for this event. So if you see people in your group, it's like, you can personally like invite them to things. Or
And then if we wanted to invite someone to the network,
Mhm.
do we just go to the main page and then send them the link and say, you should join, or is there a way to?
there is a way to do it, and it's down the list a
Oh,
little
sorry.
bit further,
Okay.
but it's okay. We
I
can
was just
talk
thinking
about
about somebody who had said they were gonna try to
Yeah.
apply for something, and then, so it's like, but she's not on the network, so.
It's okay.
Be able
So
to invite.
since you're asking about it here, it's under resources.
Okay.
So the resources tab has things from our summits last year, like all the recaps with a lot of the information. And actually under quick links, we have platform registration link for new members. And like they can technically go to platform.homegrownhillsborough.com, and then at the bottom you have to click the little thing. Like it's harder for people to find, whereas this one takes you to this page and it's like right away. So if you have, it's better to send this link so that you don't have to explain to them, you have to go on the page and just scroll down to the bottom, and I don't know why they don't have it pop up like a little higher up. But that's okay. So yes, this link is in the quick links in our resources.
Thank you.
And so similarly, there's also folders, there's lunch and learn presentations, our summit resources. There's a lot of information here, and we want you to use your working group resources to post things that are complete. So when you're still working on stuff, it should stay in the Google Drive. And so you can collaborate on Google Drive, but once it's like done and ready, it should go here. So maybe when you're making your goals, we want to have a goal sheet, but while we're still collaborating, working on it, it stays in Google Drive because you can't like create files on here and you can't collaborate. It's just for like finished work. So basically everything on here should be a PDF. Or, you know, just something that's not editable.
Yes.
So
And doesn't get it by mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Or someone's like, I saw this and I deleted it or something crazy. But you can also put articles up here, like if you have the file or something and you can't, I don't know, instead of posting it, it's like something you want to constantly refer to. If there's like an economic development, like playbook or something that you want to use, that would be great to go in here. So this is for that. So we'll get to that later. Okay, so we know how to access the directory. We know how to send a DM. Okay, when you make a poll, that is here. Pretty simple, but a great tool. Instead of texting each other and being like, hey, like, what do you guys think about this or this? You can say like, okay, our October meeting, we can't meet at ECC. Do we want to meet here or somewhere else? And then you guys can vote on it here, something like that. That's how I would use it. Okay, so we did already talk about these things.
We actually can't do a recommendation, I'm sorry.
Oh, you
and
can't? Okay.
Within the group, it's just the
Oh.
main page. I think
interesting.
because we're designated, we have the little badges, we can do it.
Oh, that would make
Group.
sense.
Yeah, but we can't do it in the main, which
Okay.
yeah, that makes total sense.
Well, good to know. So you can make a recommendation in your group.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, now finding events. The easiest way to find events is clicking on the events tab. I don't think there's any in, oh, there, okay, that's right. Let me put these in here. And also Monica posts stuff. So you can do your events in your group if it's relevant to your group. But the easiest way I think is to click on events. And then there's also, so you can see them in list form or you can click on them in calendar form. So you can see like, sometimes it's just an easier visual. I'm actually gonna go to the main page because there's more events. But when you do this, you can look at this and say, oh my gosh, there's already 2 events on the 12th. I shouldn't do my event on the 12th because everyone's going to be at these other places. But something important to note for events, when they are recurring, you either have to make them separate because otherwise there's no like recurring option. It'll just be like, if you say this is from April to September, it'll block every single day from April to September.
Oh.
So don't make like an ongoing event. If it's something that's recurring, it's more like an opportunity. Besides these meetings, these do need to be events, please. So just a tip for using events. And like I said, if you like RSVP, it will send it to your calendar on your phone or however you have it set up. And when you find an event that you want to go to, you should RSVP to it on the platform. So I think I've already, oh no, I haven't. Okay, so I am going tomorrow to this. So I'm gonna click going, and then that'll put it on my stuff. And then you can look and see who's going or not going, the maybes. And so if you host an event and you see maybes, you can reach out to these people and send them a little message and be like, hi, like just looking for a head count or something, or say, hope to see you there, something like that. It's a great way to utilize the platform. So, and even also you can go through here and like see who's going to be there. And maybe, so if it's your event, hold on, let me make sure I get this right. You can post in the discussion of an event, like my car broke down, can you give me a ride or something? Or you can, I don't know, something else. I'm trying to think. When you host an event, you can email everyone separately about it. But if it's not your event, you can't email everyone about it. But the discussion is great for something like who wants to carpool or hope to see people there. I don't know. There's different, you can have a discussion about an event, and then you can also like separately comment on the event. Okay, so you know how to RSVP. We already did kind of go through posting an event, but I will show you like when you have it, the permissions you have. So since I made this event, I can manage it. And so look, I can send a reminder, which will email everyone who has like RSVP'd. I can actually manage the RSVP list. And I think this is something else that we want the secretaries to do is like make this accurate. So if Desiree didn't actually come, we can change her to like declined. I'm not gonna do it right now because we still have some time. Maybe she does show up. So you can do that. You can also change, like if you can go to the might go list and you can email blast them. So you can send just to the people who might be going an email. You probably don't need to decline or send to the people who declined it or anything like that, but yeah, so you can see who only 2 people downloaded like the actual agenda. Or if you want to reply to the didn't respond people, like these people saw but didn't respond. So there's a lot of tools within
Oh,
the
wow, that's
events.
pretty cool.
That is
Yeah.
really cool.
And you can actually see the engagement.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you craft a message within that? So like, if you say email the people who, you know, like engaged but haven't RSVP'd to you.
I'm
When
pretty
you
sure,
say email blast, like,
I'm pretty sure that it's going, like I can type out. what it
oh,
is.
perfect.
Yeah, so Monica does
Oh, wow.
these. Yeah,
And
you can
it's
see.
actually, you were looking at our.
Yeah.
And it gives you metrics. I didn't know
wow.
that.
Yeah,
That
so you
is
can
very
see-
cool.
Oh yeah, it's actually people are doing this like as we speak. That went up. These that really. Oh, I see. I hovered over it actually.
Yeah.
Here, I was like, wow, the numbers are moving so fast.
Happening right now.
Yeah, so you can see like the
I love
number.
it.
Cool. Yeah, so it is a really good tool, and like I said, when we're using it. But yes, it'll let you do a subject on what you like to say. Oh, and when you're creating an event, let me go back to that. You can also choose to open, so I'll show you. It lets you like invite people by email, which I would say use your discretion when you're doing that. If it's something like this meeting, yes, we do want to email everyone and say like, we're doing this. But if it's like a webinar that people may or may not hop on, like if it's something that they should, if they're just scrolling around and looking for something to do, like, okay. But it's more like something that everyone should be part of. So like down here, invite all group members by email. Don't like totally blast everyone's emails all the time. So it's auto checked. So I would say, think about it, treat people the way you want to be treated. If it's like a webinar that is not that, like, it's relevant, but it's not a must go to and like very important for everyone, don't email everyone. But some things are really valuable. So like if you guys are hosting like a, I don't know, like a public comment session or something, which we don't technically have to do because all our meetings are public and every meeting should be a public comment session. But you know, something where you want to engage a lot of people and it's really like relevant, especially to this group, you want to invite everyone. So just keep that in mind when you're inviting stuff, when you're posting things. You don't need to invite everyone to everything, but it will like say the subject line here. I think it gives you some options. Don't miss out on the event name or hi, recipient free. So you can choose here how you want to set it. So that's a good tool. Okay, and event notifications, that is what I just showed you earlier. And add files. Okay, we did go to this. We talked about the resource folder too. Do you have the app downloaded and are you signed in? You guys good on the app? Like you don't have to have it, but it is valuable. But we're good.
Real quick, Amanda, do you know the parking area? Right in front of these Jackson. I have to extend my parking.
Oh,
Like the code.
What is it?
Run road.
Okay, thank you.
I did not know that.
I just did it 99 so
Yeah.
I know it's,
Thank you.
sorry.
Well, that's important. Okay, the resource folder, I'll just look at this again just to make sure. So when you click on something, you can also download it. When it wants to open and see in the right corner, download. So you can have it on your personal computer or whatever you want to do. Okay, so yes, I'm glad we did the resources. And then that was our last like major thing for going to the platform. Do you have questions about the platform in general? Or questions about anything I talked about before we move on?
No, you were very thorough.
Okay, great. I'm glad. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. And then I'll pull this back and we'll go back to our meeting. Okay, so for Google Drive, when you're using the drive, does everyone have access? Has everyone gone to the drive and you're good? Okay. A little kind of tip here to make sure you're signed into right accounts. If you have multiple emails, if you use Google Chrome, it has these like profiles on it. So I have my Wellwood City profile, but then I also have like my personal Gmail. So when I have the Wellwood City profile on, I'm logged in to this stuff. But when I click on my personal one, it'll go to my personal Google Drive. So just make it, I think it's easier to have a profile for the account that you have attached to our Google Drive. So that you're not like, I don't have access to this or don't have access to this. Yes, that is,
It does keep.
it keeps it separate and it'll keep your password separate too. And it's just a good way to use Google Chrome.
I have a question because we're actively playing with this feature. If you guys were assigned Homegrown Hillsborough emails, would that make your life harder or easier?
Well, considering what she just suggested, I think it would be nice to keep everything that's homegrown as well. I also, I'm conscious though of the fact that we already have many, addresses and passwords, but I personally would like it.
Okay, other thoughts?
Yeah, I would personally.
I just would like to know how you're gonna be getting those emails. Can we get them sent to our normal?
Personal email.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
As long as there's not another thing I have to keep track of, I think I'd be good with it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No,
Because like I
so
just feel
you
that I won't
could
remember to go
check it, yeah, so you could forward it to your personal
Okay.
email, because it wouldn't have like permissions against that.
Okay.
But yeah, you would just auto forwarded it, which wouldn't really solve for the access to the drive, because you just be
Yeah.
logged into
Yeah.
Okay, good feedback, I just.
Yeah, I
something-
mean, I think I would use, especially if we're gonna have like business cards and things like that, I think it.
Well, because as it develops and it continues to grow, then it keeps things in its own boxes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, TBD.
Also, we're like out talking to like partners and stuff, I think it's a little bit more like professional to me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is for sure.
Wanting to be unified, right?
Yeah,
Versus, especially if you're trying to set a meeting together, it's like, how do you explain why Tico and City of Tampa is,
Exactly.
communicating to you? And it's like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
That's another good point.
okay, well, like I said, TBD.
So also in here, if you want to go through that platform self-assessment, I did post it in here as well. But what was I gonna say? Your folder should be where things live. Feel free to make new folders, organize it how you want, like if you guys, but remember that it's for everyone. So, but also when you're using this, make sure that you're putting stuff in the folder and not just on your drive, because we can't see it if it's not in this folder.
Okay.
And then we have some things in here like the like agenda template. It's so tiny. So this is how we're gonna do every meeting, pretty much, is we're gonna open it, do attendance, and then we'll come up with our deliverables, our things from our old business from our last meeting. We'll discuss any new developments, like I said, readings or anything we talked about, and we'll also review our platform posts since the last meeting and post new information if we need to. Then we'll go into new business. We'll determine our deliverables for the next meeting. And at the end of each meeting, we're going to do an evaluation, which we'll do at the end of this meeting. It's very simple, but it's basically to give us feedback on how the meetings are going, if you should do things differently. And so when you're doing these things, because it is locked, we want you to make a copy. So when you go to make a copy, it might put it in this folder, it might put it in a different folder. You can go through and kind of like decide, or if there's like a folder for meetings, economic development, like you want to put it in this folder. So you can select that and then you can change the name to April meeting or whatever. Making a copy is very valuable to preserve this, and it tells you the directions at the top. Go to file, make a copy, rename it like this. We try to make it easy to figure out how to do it, but don't be like, oh no, I gotta unlock the document. Don't unlock it, we locked it for a reason. Yeah, okay, so that's in your drive.
With the naming convention for your files, if it's provided to you, just follow it, but otherwise getting into the habit of doing the _ED, just because you guys only have access to OneDrive, but we have access to all of them, and so like when I search meeting notes, it's helpful to me to know these are economic development meeting notes, right? So just underscore ED or economic development, just like putting, the words in the
Econ
thing.
dev, like that's fine.
yeah, whatever it is, just,
Yeah, so you'll see that, and especially because even the other working groups, you guys have access to each other's folders too.
oh,
So, yeah, so this is the folder they all have access to.
oh, okay. So yeah, even more so then, because otherwise it gets, confusing as to,
Yeah, and I did put your headshots in here. It's just in the main leadership folder. Oh, something else, when you have, and see, I put your all in your little names too. And I will show you, there's small and large. So the small one is probably easier for the platform because it is unloaded, but there is a larger file, if you need it.
that turned out great.
Yeah, I mean, this is so good.
Definitely need to redo that, have that conversation later, because I'm like, oh my God, that.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Where
we're
are
always
folders?
here, just so you know, we have these up here for you. Feel free to use them.
I'm with you. I feel it.
There. And then, what's something else to mention about? Oh, do you know how to like star things? So when you're in this folder, you can organize it and add a shortcut, or you can star it. So you see on the left here, starred. If you go to that, it'll always be there. You can also add a shortcut to like my drive, so I can add it to like just straight up my drive. So when I click on my drive, it'll just be like in this folder right here. So that you're not always like, where is my folder? I don't remember how to get to it. I have to find the email. So that's all up under this little arrow at the top. You just click that and you can say organize, add to start, add shortcut. Don't move the folder. I don't know if you're allowed to because I think I made it, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I didn't make it. So shortcut it or star it. Do that so that you can always find it and aren't just like, I don't know where it is. Okay. And so now I don't know, maybe last group didn't quite have us this much time. So I do want to tell you about this like upcoming grant. It'll be available to all working groups and it needs to be like distributed by the end of September because it's the end of the fiscal year. So each working group has $4,000 to distribute to our network, but it's up to you.
Sorry, I think you're just saying it, might be saying it a little bit confusing.
Okay.
So anybody in the network will be able to apply for the grant.
Yes.
But it has to be aligned with working group priorities. So somebody not in the working groups could apply for the grant, but then in the application, it's going to say which working group does it apply to, and your goals that you'll have established, which is kind of like a priority for the working groups, will be part of it. So like, when you fill out an application, it's like, okay, I'm going to say this applies to economic development, specifically goal 2, right? And it might apply to multiple goals and that'll work in their favor. But yeah, so these aren't, working groups will have their own funds specifically designated to working groups in the next fiscal cycle. So for right now, it's not that this $4,000 is yours to spend. It can be yours to spend. Your group can apply for the funds, but the rest of the network, and this will be the only instance of that going forward in the next budget cycles, it will always be that each working group is designated a certain amount of funds. And it'll be more than $4,000, but this initial $4,000 is to apply. So I guess it's really $12,000 is to apply to, generally speaking, but to the working group priorities.
And so we will open those after you guys determine your like official goals. And so we're projecting that to be around June, I think, June or July. So the next 2 meetings, which is what we're going to spend a lot of time on in the next like couple meetings, is determining what your goals are going to be. But just to like have that in your mind while we spend 20, 30 minutes talking about your priority areas. So that's not necessarily your goals, but like what we can build your goals on. So what are your priorities as economic development working group? What are your, I don't know if we even picked like topic, what do you want to say, like 3 or?
Yeah, like for example,
fine.
like you guys mentioned job creation, right? So like that's a priority area now, and then you can spend time getting specific in what does job creation mean like. Going forward to the next budget cycle, like it's in here, you're gonna have $15,000 for your working group. Now that doesn't mean you have to spend $15,000 as a working group, but this money is intended to pilot initiatives. So like if as a working group, we decide that, I'm just gonna use the neighborhood, doesn't necessarily apply to you guys, it could, but the neighborhood corner store model, right? Like if we decide we're gonna work with one corner store and put in a new refrigerator and do a whole year's worth of programming with them, and that's how we're gonna spend the whole $15,000. Because if we're piloting neighborhood corner stores for then being able to apply for a grant down the road, then that's how we're gonna do it. We might say we only need $2,000 to do a event for startup businesses to learn more about food systems. And then the rest of that money, you could decide collectively to put out an application for other network members to apply for the rest of those funds. So you're in control of those funds, but they're intended to pilot or support initiatives as it relates to your working group. So keep that in mind when you're creating these goals, is because if job creation is your objective, or your priority area, and your goal then becomes to create, 10 new jobs, you have $50,000 to potentially help make that happen. You're not paying 10 people, right? Like that's not how it's probably going to get used, but maybe it's a cohort, you know what I mean? Things like that. But that dollar amount is valuable to know that like, this isn't just like hopes and dreams. Like we're assigning value to this group.
If, for instance, I wanted to apply to pilot a program in the food access side, they would have similar things going on.
They're structured the exact same way.
Perfect. So like if it was like, I want to pick an elementary school and provide after school snacks to healthy after whatever.
And these are less programmatic
Okay.
fun. How do I say this? It's meant to pilot initiatives.
Right.
These aren't grants
Okay.
to just continue doing your work. It's to see if this can be built. It's like it's supposed to be step 1, 2 now.
Yeah.
Like you can think about it in procurement in schools, right? Maybe we're doing like farmer listening sessions.
Builds capacity.
Yeah, to go beyond
Scale,
that.
yeah.
There will be like other grants for like individual organizations, not coming from working groups.
Yeah.
So these are supposed to be like piloting initiatives to like build momentum towards the overarching thing. I know it's complicated, a lot of different streams of money.
Sense, right? So it's a new initiative, right? Maybe something that we don't have
Yeah.
data for, like, and that's why I brought up the after school ones. I just had a school reach out very specifically. They have a reading program. They're trying to increase reading, and the food that they're giving the kids before they have to go and sit and be tutored is all like processed. So they're like, hey, is there a way? So that's just kind of why I was thinking along that. So I think that that's really great. It does allow you to like step out of the box, or allow organizations to step out of the box and try something.
Yeah, or work together on something,
Yeah.
right? Or it could be like your existing program, but now you're like, we run the community food ambassador program. That's because the coalition did help 22nd Street, and we're just iterating on, like we do it in partnership. We're just iterating on that, but incorporating more cooking component, right? Like that could be, and then maybe if we were charging for it, right? Like that, like might be the economic development piece now because it's a job creation pipeline, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So lots of buckets of money. We'll have more information about the working group funds when they become available.
And what is the fiscal year?
October 1 is the new fiscal cycle.
And
that
so
the
like,
same as
we
yours?
could have an event in October, but we just have to have paid for it before that.
Yeah.
So like pay the vendors, pay speakers, whatever, before then, or buy stuff ahead of that.
Yeah, I don't know how the county is, but for the city, like you have to, if you're paying that money, like that has to be on city property, whatever you're buying by September 30th. Yeah. So I know that's for the
We're
city.
a
It's like,
public-private partnership, so
it's coming from the well, not from,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
We
For
know
us,
that, yeah.
for the one.
There's a reason we did it.
Yeah.
Because you know how complicated it
Yeah.
can be.
So you guys have, I'm gonna start a timer for 20 minutes, and that should give us a good amount of time to start some priority areas. Feel free to use the whiteboards and we'll put them in the notes, but take off.
Yeah, I have to get going.
Yeah.
You have beautiful penmanship.
Yeah.
Oh, I got chicken scratches. I'm happy to see that.
So
Yeah.
so I'm not like a super like understanding like I guess we'll go further.
Yeah, exactly. It's a subject to change.
Cool.
No, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to like looking at I was just like the five, is it five aspect was typically.
In economic development, it's definitely job creation and profit growth, but I will say that's hard to get businesses to, not so much the job creation part, that's not, but like, it's hard to get businesses to comply with giving you the data about their profits. You know what I mean? So that one, it's like, it's really difficult to gauge, so I don't know if that's what we should do as a developing group. Really, try to get that information, because the city has trouble and we are giving them funding, and that's kind of like a condition of their funding, that they have to let us know that, and we still have trouble with getting that information. So yeah, so I think job creation is definitely easier to keep that data.
Could profit growth be tracked through sales?
Yeah, but that's what they don't want to really give, and they don't have to, like, you know what I mean? It's just, we find it hard, and like, we work with all these consultants who are providing that free service that I spoke about for these businesses, and they can never get them to respond to that info too. So in the economic development realm, it's hard to get.
But no, it's an option, like when I had help was like, hey, I need to know your economic.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, that might not
workforce development. I mean, maybe just switching the focus from job creation to workforce development.
Yeah, I think there's, we should look into that though, because recently, maybe last year, the state, passed a statute that doesn't allow workforce development to be mandated. And so we want to check into that. So like for our contracts where we have language that's like, in order to get this city funding, you have to do blah, 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 workforce development. We can't hold them to anything, and we can't necessarily add that into new contracts. So we just want to be careful about that, why they did that. I don't know, but you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But that's like the biggest incentive.
Mm-hmm.
So infrastructure and creating maybe facilities, does that fall?
Yeah,
under
yeah,
that?
for sure. Infrastructure is a huge part of,
Right, because that's one of the conversations we've had a lot about, is like, we don't have the infrastructure in place to support scale of distribution.
yeah.
What was the other word you said? Structure. I'm just writing that down so that later on we remember all the things we discussed. Equipment, was it equipment?
That would be like under the like refrigeration, right, and things like that. And that's just to give the tools essentially for some of the growth. So maybe instead of profit growth, like increased. I don't know, because it's like.
I mean, for us, it's like, we don't really care what their profit is. We just want to see that they're increasing.
They're really
What
good.
about
That they're
just market growth, like market share, or like even just market advancement? Doesn't necessarily have to be like.
Yeah, or even like, if you want to just know that to gauge how much produce.
Right, it'd be
that
like
they're
pounds and
yeah,
cents,
yeah,
right? Like, because that could be economic growth. So I would say maybe when we're looking at that, pounds and servings that are coming from Hillsborough County, right? Like
That's what I was thinking, like maybe they're not necessarily talking about how much money they made, but we're gonna see that more produce is coming in.
Yeah, and I guess for our purposes, profit growth isn't going to give us the answers we want anyways, because
Right.
it's like they sell more than just food. So like that
Exactly.
increased profit doesn't necessarily mean that the food is what increased their profit. So I think
Exactly.
going along that line is
Yeah.
better, what you were saying. Like their product offering and how much pounds of that they're.
And then we talked about quality of life. So I think that has to somehow tie in, right? Like, how are we enhancing the quality? Like, how is that a KPI? Like, how can we, work
So
it
I
as
think
far
your
as-
product offering, wouldn't that go under infrastructure?
Well, I think that would go under maybe like the equipment one, just because infrastructure in my mind is more of like
Buildings.
the buildings and like
Oh,
the-
gotcha.
yeah.
And then inside.
I'm just throwing up kind of like different topics
Yeah.
we're talking about, but do we want to create some categories and then start putting these
Yeah.
categories to help frame the
Yeah.
conversation?
What about like our supporting, or I guess lifting up our local farmers? Like I know you have like your smaller scale farmers who, kind of depend on the markets versus like some of the larger or maybe mid-sized ones, and it's hard for them to like compete with some of the larger ones.
No,
I don't
sure.
know.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And then there's also if they have a bad sales day, right? So like, I'm just thinking about this week, we went from, let's say, 2,500 as our normal sales day, and then all of a sudden we only do 1,500.
Yeah.
what do we do with that? Like, that's an economic loss really for
Yeah.
us, right? So trying to think of how to word that, so maybe additional opportunities.
Which is actually a good point, because when I went to neighborhood corner store trying to ask them why they don't sell fresh produce, I heard so many times like, well, is the city gonna be willing to buy the produce that we don't sell back? And like,
Yeah.
that's what they were
So
saying.
we use, that could be one of the tests that we look at. So at Target, we do what's called scan-based trade.
Mhm.
So if you're a vendor and you're putting in 20 watermelons into my store, you don't get paid until I sell that watermelon. But then that, for a corporation, that's great because they have all the high
Yeah.
tech stuff to track that. So that might be something.
That's a good point,
I
yeah.
think you're onto something there, because if you're a vendor going into one of the bigger retail, you're paying me for space, which is very interesting. And then two, you don't get paid until your product goes through my register. So that takes the risk off of the corner store, gives them a little bit of income. Maybe it's only $50, right? We're renting the cooler, we're paying. So we'll put the cooler in, we'll pay $50 towards your electric.
Interesting.
Then we'll fill the cooler. And then you are to do a sales report, and then that's how essentially I would get paid. Now you have to have really high level of trust, so there might be that back. So that might be a great project to just, as we're kind of getting on a tangent, but thinking of that way. So maybe even just program creation, like pilots and program creations, like we're thinking
I like that.
innovative ways.
So would that be under profit?
Because that's the same thing we ran into was like, who's gonna call it, right? I was at Pasco Fernando State College, and they're like, we have a food pantry, we don't put anything fresh in because we can't own it. Same thing with and that's why you're seeing that as a gap. So they don't have the staff. So now so what does that cost look like? And then how much is that? So I think innovative programming, testing or something.
But let's create the categories.
Yeah, I think that would be innovative, like program testing maybe would be part of
Program
economic
testing.
development, yeah.
So profit, economic development. Well, but we're all economic development.
Oh,
So like,
I think are the categories the main categories you with job creation?
would be like job creation, infrastructure, I think would be two, and then profit growth would be the third one.
I think
And with
product
that
off-
idea.
Oh, yeah, and then product offering under.
And then under profit
Mhm.
growth.
So instead of profit growth, maybe just business growth.
Yeah.
Like overall
Yeah.
development.
Business development or growth.
But then how are you measuring that? What are gonna be the data point? Just how many pounds that you're?
So typically it's pounds, servings, and then, economic impact on the farmer, if they're willing to, so we share like how much we
Maybe,
bought.
yeah.
So when we do a grant, we have to report how much was bought from Florida farmers and how much was bought imports, or what does that look
Okay.
like? So that might be, then we're trying to we need like three focuses.
You said three?
You said about three.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
let's say 3 to 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess business development though, it kind of, all of that falls into it, right?
Yeah.
Well, job creation,
So the
profit growth.
categories, are those the key areas, and then we're listing out underneath? Okay.
Well, then maybe we just do, because even equipment's under infrastructure.
Yeah, so
So-
business development, infrastructure.
Yeah, it's job
That's
creation.
what- yeah,
I think
that's
we
what
can
it
do.
Yeah, but I agree with Nicole that job creation should be under business development.
Job creation.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't listening
In
because I was
infrastructure, I
writing.
think you're looking at equipment, you're looking at tech. So
Yeah.
program evaluation.
Marketing, tech, that's all under like business development.
So would tech fall under development, or is that part of infrastructure?
I would think
Or-
it's infrastructure. Yeah.
Well,
Well, marketing, I would say
Marketing
business
is
development.
definitely business development. I feel like even almost it's like infrastructure could
yeah,
fall
just
under
do
business
marketing.
development.
Yeah.
too.
No, it's good.
It could. It really
So
could.
maybe that's like our big focus is business development through infrastructure, marketing, and pilot programs.
Yeah, and then even under the infrastructure would be like the distribution
Mhm.
channels to that.
Well, can you say that again?
Under infrastructure, but the distribution channels.
Distribution channels.
Which we are still vaguely talking about, trying to get a cold storage facility inside the city of limits. But we're running into trouble because I don't know if you can state state. They are thinking about putting an end to the community redevelopment agencies at the end of September. We're waiting for their final decision on that, but if they do, that really puts us such, because that means we would have to spend all of our funding by September, which is yeah, it's impossible. And so it's just like, we're just kind of a hold with a lot of that until we figure out what the state is gonna do.
We're on the opposite. We're like, we have
You know,
585 million in Pasco that they want to spend by the fall.
Oh my God.
yeah, that's crazy. But to me, like, that's, you can't do that effectively. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just throwing money at
growth,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
So it's project growth. So essentially it's like identifying that, and there is overlap because they're part of the Tampa Bay Resiliency Plan, and this is all CDBG.
Yeah.
So I think business development's a huge part. I almost feel like infrastructure goes kind of like, you have under business development, you have your infrastructure, then you have your profit and piloting, right? Like our say sales growth, right? Sales and reach growth. But I like having infrastructure kind of as like that is a huge opportunity for
Yeah.
scalability.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the problem Sulphur Springs is having, is they have none of that infrastructure in their community to allow for the increased access.
And a small business doesn't have the ability.
Yeah, they don't
for
have the
that.
capacity building to do
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so for so we have our missions, our goals that we're trying, like the three main,
So like your priority
our
areas.
three
yeah,
main
sorry.
priorities.
So we need another one, or at least one or two more.
Or just break it out, so like, you know, and all, no, I was gonna say it's all business development, like we're
Pilot program
saying.
support.
So would the next one be like connection?
Or maybe like, I was thinking maybe like doing something that has to do with equity.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, just.
Because that is a big problem, and especially in cities like this region where it's growing, there's a lot of economic opportunity, but it's not equitable. It's all the developers get it. And that's why we are using those CDBG funds for low to moderate income people, because it gives them additional resources.
Exactly.
Yeah. But how do we then, I'm just thinking about,
Quantify.
yeah, and
I feel like
it is
maybe-
kind of that, like the consulting to make sure that they have the resources that they need in order.
So I'm thinking pilot program support, like I'm thinking being a support for smaller, for any business that wants to pilot a new program. And then it almost could be like with a focus in the areas that currently do not have equitable access, right? Or are lacking the resources for that.
Yeah, I guess we don't have to like spell it all out exactly
Yeah.
what it's gonna look like. We can just put equitable economic mobility, you know?
It could be like, you know, you put together a, oh gosh, what's the term I'm looking for? I don't know, like a think tank,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, or, you know, piloting a program that's, you know, kind of focused on smaller farms, women minority-owned farmers or food creators type thing.
So we're in innovation under equity?
I think innovation is by itself, right?
Well, I think innovation would be thought. So
Yeah.
we did innovation, business development,
Yeah.
and infrastructure.
And then how we bring up.
Equity would be in all of it, really.
Yeah. Maybe put that underneath business development, but equitable opportunities.
So I think innovation is like, that's testing new programs, getting data, responding to feedback as you're piloting these programs. I think that's could be a really big benefit of trying new things that results in economic development, results in a better quality of life. If we test the program at the corner store and we heard their concern was, what happens if I don't sell it? We come back with, this is what happens if you don't sell it. Or you can have it as a free event. We figure out what that pilot looks like after, but now you're enhancing the quality of life. It's cross sector. So now we're checking all those boxes of our mission, right? So I like
Yeah,
that.
actually, I get what you're saying now. That does kind of fall into the innovation, like, because I'm thinking innovation, I was thinking technology. Like, that's where my mind was
Yeah,
going.
me too.
So, like, that's where I was going. So maybe,
For me, innovation is doing anything in a different way that it hasn't been
Then I think,
Exactly.
yeah, okay, then I think, yeah.
And
the
using
equitable
your
access over there.
cross-sector collaboration in order to develop those programs is gonna be key in innovation.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like equitable
Find
access,
equity
like
and all.
that is an area of gap. Like
No,
there's
for
a
sure,
huge gap.
for sure.
And
All over
it's
Tampa.
just, that's just all over Tampa, and that's just the reality of it, you know, like Sulphur Springs is like a great example.
And I think what happens with that is the equitable access doesn't happen because within your business development plan, that's not a profitable area to go into, right? So you are essentially relying on some funding to pilot the program to
Yeah.
see if it truly can result in profits, right? And that is why we don't have, in some regards, I know there's a whole bunch of other reasons, but that's a huge part of a business not wanting to go in an area that they don't know, are they gonna get return on their
Yeah, yeah.
investment?
I mean, that's why we haven't had luck attracting
Right.
supermarket in Sulphur
Right,
Springs.
right.
Because they know, I mean, they've been in areas similar in
Right.
demographics and they know it's not profitable, so they don't even want
Right.
to begin the conversation unless
And you
you're
don't want to
going.
deal with the grants or
Yeah.
anything like
Right.
that. So if we are innovative, we have someone come with a very innovative idea that we can support, and it shows economic development, well, that
Mhm.
might, now that pilot is like, oh, this
Yeah.
works, right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so I think I like those.
Equitable access in all areas, just to sort of
Yeah.
remember that everything needs to be looked at through that lens.
The thing too with infrastructure, if you put infrastructure in the right spot through workforce development, like that's what we're looking at now. And it's like, there's conversation about, well, would this bring in higher paying jobs? Well, it depends on where we put it.
Yeah.
Right? It depends on, so there's a huge balance there too. Sometimes maybe you have to put the infrastructure in a different location, but you're able to service and provide equitable access through some of the programs. So I think all of these connect, and I think innovation is key. And I think you have to put tech under innovation.
Yeah.
Because we have to play in the tech game a
Yeah.
little bit. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
in order to get equitable
Definitely.
access, like you're looking at, you have to have some tech involved.
Yeah.
And anything that we're talking about now, it's like, and a huge differentiator is tech is very expensive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we have an innovative model, we are in Tech Tampa, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like thinking of what that looks like. But I think you're right with tech. We have to have something with tech.
Yeah, that's kind of what our goal is with our micro grants for that CDBG program I talked about, is like, it's going to, so the city will pay like up to $5,000 to help as a down payment for a loan that somebody needs to get for some sort of technology thing, like they want a POS system or whatever, just to try to make it a little bit easier on them, obviously. And then we're trying to work with CDFIs instead of traditional banks, because those are kind of more of like flexible lending terms and such, so.
No, I like that. I think that those three things, they fit under economic development, then they align with our mission, right? Because we will help our food system grow through these things.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's cross-sector, right? Because you have your infrastructure as a sector, business development is a whole different sector, especially with like the marketing side of it and
Yeah.
the innovation.
Yeah.
I love that. And it will definitely enhance the quality of life through the programs that we're bringing.
That's
for
right.
that.
So all of this should be increasing for access. So
That's
it's like,
right.
yeah, that's the goal of it all.
All together.
I feel really good about it.
I really like that. Cool.
You
What do
guys
you
are
think?
so good, 45 seconds on the time. You can tell we are not.
Yes.
Awesome.
I know, I was like, no, we can't tangent down that road.
No, that was so good.
I was like, no, they want us to what?
Okay, so I've written down what you guys, put on
Oh,
your
thank you.
thing here, so we have it in the notes.
Okay.
And then, so we also.
Wait. Just because I know you put down the notes, but I'm just like such a visual person. Thank you.
So the other, I kind of listed out kind of what the other mini grants are potentially like could be for the next fiscal year. But these are kind of our buckets. Like a community building grant, an infrastructure grant. I'm sorry, the community building was the $4,000. Your rolling grant will be the $15,000 for you guys to spend either within your group or give away to people. And then the other grants are more like we'll kind of decide, like we'll have a committee that'll determine who's going to get them. But they'll still have to align to different goals of our group. So we'll have, and these are, we're not sure if these are exactly how the buckets are going to go. But 10,000, I think, I guess, it just confuses me with like how they did the structure. So it'll be a $30,000 capacity building grant. And we do want to encourage people to only apply for what they need. So if you only need $10,000 to build a structure, apply for 10,000 and we'll give the
And
rest to someone else.
if it overlaps, so food access and economic, we'll just use the corner store.
Right, it's not, yeah, when you were talking about that, I was like, that is, we kind of thought it would fall under food access, but I see now how it could also
Yeah.
work with economic development, so. If it
If
goes.
they overlap and we need, and we can obviously, it's not like we're tied out where
Right,
we're not
yeah.
over, like, we knew this was all gonna be overlap.
Yeah.
Essentially, it could be like the economic development group is leading the pilot and the communication and the tech, but the food access group is working with the closest community garden to grow the food to support that, right?
Mhm.
So, or production and access is under both, so. No, I think that's,
Yeah, we can work together.
there's a lot there.
That's-
Okay.
that's the-
And then we'll have access to see what they, after their meetings, what they've kind of.
Yeah, what their priority areas
Yeah.
are and such, yeah, and so actually the last group didn't get to spend time on their priority areas, so they'll do that their next meeting.
Yeah, I really like those priority areas and everything that we're looking at, right now, that really, it aligns with what we're trying to like figure out from a funding standpoint in general, right? Like, I think that's as far as like the CBDG stuff, because they want to know how's it going to enhance the quality of life, how's it economic
Yeah.
development, and how those play in. So I think that's going to be great.
So we do have a good amount of money, but not like millions of dollars.
You're not building a
it'll
food
go
hub
fast.
yet.
Yes.
We're not building a food hub yet.
Right, so these are all like, we're kind of talking like pilots and
Mhm.
building stuff up and getting people.
But there's
to
enough
get
in there for like you said, a refrigerator working
Oh,
group,
yeah.
an organization that's local, if they have to rent a van to go service 3 or 4 to test, right? Because maybe you don't buy the van, you're renting it to like, so I
See
think
if it works, yeah.
there's a lot of unique things that you can pilot there. This is great.
All right, so we'll move on from our grant stuff, and as we kind of wrap up here, there is this collective impact action summit. No, only one person has reached out to me, like from all the working groups, to participate in it. If anyone's interested, please tell me soon. Because it is a multi-day thing, but we can pay for maybe 1 or 2 people to go. We have one person already.
Unfortunately, I have
Yeah,
another
it's
conference.
okay, yeah.
that time, That's why I didn't
Yeah.
reach out.
That's okay. And yeah, so
Is
if
it
you do,
all day?
it's 12 to 5, and it's April 29th to May 1st, and we do want you to be on it. the whole
Oh,
time.
it's on virtual, right?
It is virtual,
Okay.
yeah, so it's virtual, but you do have to like be present on it for 5 hours for I think 3 days. So no worries if like the one person who does it, we'll make them report to everyone. Or maybe, I don't know if we decide maybe 2 people can do it. But just to put that out there, it is coming up. And then we also in August 26th, the Florida Organic Growers is going to do a symposium in Orlando. We don't even have times for it yet, but just want to put it out there if you're interested in traveling. I'll probably end up going, maybe Monica or Dahlia. So like we could do a carpool thing if anyone's interested. Okay, and then next meeting.
Is it one day?
Yeah, it's a 1-day thing. It might even be like a half day, like either morning or afternoon. But they do a lot of good, we really like the programs they've put on in the past, so should be good. So our deliverables for next meeting, I'm trying to think, last time we talked, the last group was to basically think about their priority areas, so I do want everyone to go like through the platform, like away from this meeting. So come back with something that you saw on the platform that is relevant to, like, would be good for your working group to either look at or review or attend.
If
Just,
we don't see it, can we post something?
sure, you
Okay.
can always post.
Was just
something on the
thinking like if
platform.
we're like, oh, there's nothing, but I
Yeah.
have something to make that work.
Sure,
Okay.
yes. So find a post or event, and even if it's like a past event, you say this would have been good for us, or maybe we should look for next year. I just want to show that you've gone on the platform since then. And see, so the next meeting, I'm trying to remember what we're supposed to be focusing on. We kind of have the first like 3 meetings sort of like ideas for you guys, what you're gonna be doing. But I think we'll probably be focusing on our goals and fleshing out more of what we just talked about and like more specific goals, because we want to have those like grant applications opening as soon as you're done. So probably June, so 2 meetings. So we won't spend 2 hours talking about it, but we might spend an hour talking about it and getting more specific. So that's not something you have to just come prepared to talk about that. So it's not something you have to bring to it, but yeah. Okay, so now we want to do our last 5 minutes, our meeting ratings. And I'm sure I will need to convey some more information to you about our next meeting before then, but I don't know what it is yet. Oh my God, it's so small. Okay, so we're gonna try this little system where it's called PALS, participation, achievement, listening, and scheduling. You're just rating it 1 through 5. I'm just gonna straight up popcorn around and say like, I'm gonna read down the list. So I'm gonna say Nicole, Elizabeth, Ginain, Amanda, and then you say 1 through 5. Participation is, did people participate? Like, was everyone talking? If there's audience members, or I'm gonna call other participants who aren't in your working group, that would include them. What did we accomplish for achievement? Like, did we get stuff done? Listening, was everyone focused and mindful? And then scheduling, did we stick to our agenda and use our time wisely? You guys were so good at that, but I don't want to influence your. So for participation, okay, sorry, other questions before I.
So we were doing 1 through 5, you said?
Yeah, 1 through 5
is the highest, 1 is. The
Yes, good question. 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest. So for participation, Nicole, how would you rate this meeting?
5.
All right, Elizabeth?
5.
Ginain?
5.
Amanda?
I was just gonna go 4 just because no one from the public was here.
Because no one else.
Yeah.
That's okay.
No, that's smart, like,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and there is room for like comments at the end if we want to add something. Okay, achievement, did we publish things?
I think we did, yes, 5.
All right. So,
5.
Amanda?
So, now looking through the lens of not having somebody from the public, it would have been nice for,
I would hear more
I don't know.
in the future.
But
And yes,
sometimes it's nice to get your bearing,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, like,
you
and
guys handle first together.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's too many people that maybe
Also
haven't been part of Homegrown Hillsborough for a while, or didn't go through the summit. It might have been, might have been beneficial just for that first
I
one,
agree.
but
Yeah, true.
I think
It's
that
part of your duties to recruit people to show up, be like, oh.
I sent
well,
2
you did this,
emails
like,
to recruit people on
Good
that,
job.
so.
Yeah, definitely like.
With the link to
come.
Homegrown Hillsborough and all
Oh,
the
you're
things.
awesome. Okay. How about listening? How do you rate our listening?
I'm gonna say, I think it was 5, like,
Yeah.
slow down enough to hear each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're awesome.
Was it?
I think a 5 was long.
July?
5.
Yeah.
I agree.
And scheduling, did we stick to our agenda?
Yes, we got through everything on the agenda.
Yes, 5.
5. 5 for me.
Okay, awesome, all right, great, I'm glad our meeting went well, and the other groups also looked similar, except for their scheduling was a little lower because we did not get through everything because we had a lot of talking to do. But it was all, valuable. So are there any additional comments you would like to add on here? I'll probably make this a little prettier, but this is my.
Well, I think we said we wanna have public opinion, looking for that, we need the 5th member, so that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that'll be your deliverable next meeting, is
Yeah.
introduce your new member. That's a good alpha,
Well, I
right?
think with
Oh,
Jenna
me
reaching out, like I
too.
said, I responded to her, so once you do the post, if you wanna look on the network, her name was.
Yeah, she actually, I saw her on LinkedIn looking at my LinkedIn profile while we were in this meeting. So,
Perfect,
yeah.
and if you go under the economic development, she's there, so it's
Okay.
Jenna from Locally Grown, and they'll be.
Yeah,
great
yeah,
to
I saw
have.
her at she RSVP'd to the event too, so I'll be able to find
Oh,
her
cool,
there.
I'll
Yeah.
be there too,
She
so.
does a lot with the schools,
Farm to
right?
School,
Farm
yes.
to school.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
Ariana,
Cool.
yeah.
She'll be really good.
Yeah, that adds another perspective into the conversation too, so.
Especially, I mean, was it $90 million or something for school lunches?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
blown
Wow.
away by the economic impact school
Yeah.
lunches had when they were presenting.
Yeah.
So that could be very
Yeah.
interesting.
She's gonna bring pretty cool perspective. I remember for the school district, I used to work in student nutrition, so that's kind of near and dear to my heart,
Mhm.
funding towards that. Guys, I do have to share
Yes.
though, so on the 8th, I'll be in Charlotte for a conference for work. So I'm probably gonna miss that. That's the next meeting, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Thursday, yeah, I actually come back that day, but I'll be back later.
Just remember your attendance is.
Are we-
Yeah.
Like, I mean, are we flexible within that? Can we look at our schedule and see if you can, or is it because it's public too, where we wanna have it?
It's not posted yet. We wanted to stick to like recurring.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just thought about
I
that
can
too,
ask.
because, well,
Yeah.
it's funny you say May 8th, because we have senior produce distributions and the Department of Other Affairs cannot get their stuff in order, and we have like 4 weeks to distribute 400 vouchers. And now we're looking at 2 or 3 weeks, and one of the dates she had sent was like, it's Thursdays, and I was like, oh
It's
man.
virtual, would virtual be an option?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you
can
do
do
one
one.
by-
Probably do virtual, like, I can see if I can get a break and I
If
can log
you
in.
are able to do that, yeah,
Yeah.
I think you get like 2 virtual, 1 straight up absent.
Oh, okay.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's in the contract.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I was like, I'm gonna
Look at the
officially
contract.
end our meeting here, like on Zoom.
Perfect.
But